that of any other god. He was graceful and swift of motion. On his feet were winged sandals. Wings were on his low-crowned hat, too, and on his magic wand, the caduceus. He was Zeus's messenger, who flies as fleet as thought to do his bidding. Of all the gods, he was the shrewdest and most cunning. In fact, he was the master thief, who started upon his career before he was a day old. The babe was born at the break of day, and ere the night fell, he had stolen away Apollo's herds. Zeus made him give them back, and he won Apollo's forgiveness by presenting him with the lyre which he had just invented, making it out of a tortoise's shell. Perhaps there was some connection between that very early story of him and the fact that he was god of commerce and the market, protector of traders. In odd contrast to this idea of him, he was also the solemn guide of the dead, the divine herald who led the souls down to their last home. He appears oftener in the tales of mythology than any other god. Ares, Mars. The god of war, son of Zeus and Hera, both of whom Homer says detested him. Indeed, he is hateful throughout the Iliad, poem of war though it is. Occasionally, the heroes rejoice in the delight of Ares' battle, but far oftener in having escaped the fury of the ruthless god. Homer calls him murderous, blood-stained, the incarnate curse of mortals. And, strangely, a coward, too, who bellows with pain and runs away when he is wounded. Yet he has a train of attendants on the battlefield which should inspire anyone with confidence. His sister is there, Eris, which means discord, and Strife, her son. The goddess of war, Enyo, in Latin Bellona, walks beside him, and with her are terror and trembling and panic. As they move, the voice of groaning arises behind them, and the earth streams with blood. The Romans liked Mars better than the Greeks liked Ares. He never was to them the mean, whining deity of the Iliad, but magnificent in shining armor, redoubtable, invincible. The warriors of the great Latin heroic poem, the Aeneid, far from rejoicing to escape from him, rejoice when they see that they are to fall on Mars' field of renown. They rush on glorious death and find it sweet to die in battle. Ares figures little in mythology. In one story, he is the lover of Aphrodite and held up to the contempt of the Olympians by Aphrodite's husband, Hephaestus. But for the most part, he is little more than a symbol of war. He is not a distinct personality, like Hermes or Hera or Apollo. He had no cities where he was worshipped. The Greeks said vaguely that he came from Thrace, home of a rude, fierce people in the northeast of Greece. Appropriately, his bird was the vulture. The dog was wronged by being chosen as his animal. Hephaestus, Vulcan and Mulciber. The god of fire, sometimes said to be the son of Zeus and Hera, sometimes of Hera alone, who bore him in retaliation for Zeus's having brought forth Athena. Among the perfectly beautiful immortals, he only was ugly. He was lame as well. In one place in the Iliad, he says that his shameless mother, when she saw that he was born deformed, cast him out of heaven. In another place, he declares that Zeus did this, angry with him for trying to defend Hera. This second story is the better known because of Milton's familiar lines. Mulciber was thrown by angry Jove sheer o'er the crystal battlements. From morn to noon he fell, from noon to dewy eve. A summer's day, and with the setting sun, dropped from the zenith like a falling star on Lemnos, the Aegean isle. These events, however, were supposed to have taken place in the far distant past. In Homer, he is in no danger of being driven from Olympus. He is highly honored there, the workman of the immortals, their armorer and smith, who makes their dwellings and their furnishings as well as their weapons. In his workshop, he has handmaidens he has forged out of gold who can move and who help him in his work. In the later poets, his forge is often said to be under this or that volcano and to cause eruptions. His wife is one of the three Graces in the Iliad, called Aglaia in Hesiod. In the Odyssey, she is Aphrodite. He was a kindly, peace-loving god, popular on earth as in heaven. With Athena, he was important in the life of the city. The two were the patrons of handicrafts, the arts which, along with agriculture, are the support of civilization. He the protector of the smiths, as she of the weavers. When children were formally admitted to the city organization, the god of the ceremony was Hephaestus. Hestia, Vesta. She was Zeus's sister, and like Athena and Artemis, a virgin goddess. She has no distinct personality, and she plays no part in the myths. She was the goddess of the hearth, the symbol of the home, around which the newborn child must be carried before it could be received into the family. Every meal began and ended with an offering to her. Hestia, in all dwellings of men and immortals, yours is the highest honor. The sweet wine offered first and last at the feast, poured out to you duly. Never without you can gods or mortals hold banquet. Each city, too, had a public hearth sacred to Hestia, where the fire was never allowed to go out. If a colony was to be founded, the colonists carried with them coals from the hearth